Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the second installment of the Village Vitality series. If you joined me on Friday, I hope that you had a great session. Hope that you're not too sore today, although that might be a possibility. Definitely plan on expecting a little bit of muscle soreness and joint soreness when we're moving our bodies in a totally different way. As long as it doesn't interfere with your everyday activities, then it's totally normal and should dissipate over time. All right, so in case you didn't join me last week, all you need for your Village Vitality sessions is a sturdy chair, something that won't slide around on the floor too much, and that will hold your weight, preferably something without arms as well, so that we can really move and maneuver around the chair. But work with what you have. It's better to try it than to not do it at all if you think you don't have the right equipment. Beyond that, just make sure you're wearing comfortable clothing. For today's session, you can absolutely be wearing shoes or choose to opt out of shoes. We will be doing a little bit of standing balance work today. And for some of you, doing that barefoot might actually be very beneficial. Again, moving those small muscles in the feet, and fine-tuning those that tend to get aided a lot by our footwear. But if you have certain medical conditions where you should be wearing shoes while you exercise, then please, by all means, keep those on. So it's up to you. Decide, kick them off, leave them on, and let's go ahead and get started. So for today's session, we'll be focusing quite a bit on the hips and all of the muscles that connect to that area. So specifically, we'll be working on quads today for strengthening and stretching, as well as glutes, and definitely, of course, other muscles along the way as well. So go ahead and have a seat in your chair. Now, if you joined me last time, you know that we'll begin the class with a little bit of centering, which usually involves breath work. This is great for multiple reasons. One is to get you in tune with your body, because remember, our one rule for the class is to always listen to your body. It'll give you messages of when to stop via your breathing, maybe via sharp shooting, pinching, or tingly sensations. A little bit of discomfort is normal, but not if it's to the point where it's halting your breath, or it's just the only thing you can focus on. So centering for really looking inward, and also breath work is so beneficial for the lungs and lung function. And regardless of whether you have any lung issues or not, as we age, we tend to lose some lung function. So it's just a good idea. And it feels really nice. It also increases your parasympathetic nervous system activity, which is basically your rest and digest nervous system. So it helps lower heart rate, lower blood pressure, lower breathing frequency, and just really makes your body have to work less hard to do its thing. So for this, we're going to come to the edge of our seat. Now, remember, if this is a whole lot of work for you and it's really challenging to sit like this, then you can absolutely scoot back in your chair, but you want to just try to maintain as straight and upright of a posture as possible. So if I do choose to sit in my chair, I'm just making sure I'm not slouching and closing down on my chest. I want to really try to keep that chest open and lifted as I sit. Now, for those of you that want a little more challenge and you want to start working these core muscles a little more, you're going to sit at the very edge of your seat. Make sure you have the alignment of the knees in line or widthwise with the hips, and then the heels underneath the knees. So from here, let's just do a couple little shoulder rolls just to make this sitting maybe a little bit more bearable. I know this might be a challenging part for a lot of people. So you're just rolling those shoulders up and down and back. Maybe switching directions if that feels good to you, rolling forward. And you may just want to take a couple little twisting movements. May want to stretch the neck side to side, or maybe you're just continuing with those shoulder rolls. Again, whatever feels good to you to just relieve a little bit of tension so it's a little easier to sit still here. All right. So once you've worked out the kinks just a little bit, go ahead and find some stillness. So bringing hands to the thighs or letting them dangle, or perhaps to your lap. Again, just settle in, find what's most comfortable for you, and allow those eyes to close. And try to keep those eyes closed throughout this breathing. So today we'll be doing a breathing technique. It's a pranayama technique, which are yogic breathing exercises. And it's called, in Sanskrit, samavriti, which means equal ratio breathing. So as you sit here with eyes closed, just first start to observe the breath in its natural state. Try not to alter it yet. And begin by observing the depth of your breath. How far down does it feel like it moves into your body? How much movement do you feel when you inhale and exhale? What parts of your body feel open and spacious? What parts of your body feel maybe the opposite? Maybe you're feeling a lot of tugging sensations, achiness, tiredness. Try to take in as much observation as you can of your physical body, the space that you inhabit. Even noticing the feel of the air on your skin. Working our minds in this way to fine-tune our focus can be very powerful for the brain and for the mind-body connection. After you've observed all of these things, start to bring the focus back to the breath, and this time to the length of inhale and exhale. Begin counting. How many counts for your inhale and how many counts for your exhale? And don't overthink it too much. So it doesn't matter if you count fast or slow, just as long as the counting stays consistent throughout this exercise. And so we'll begin to attempt to balance the inhale in length and depth and the exhale. So let's begin with a 2-count inhale and a 2-count exhale. So even if that's a little shorter than your natural breathing or a little longer, see if you can start there. Inhaling for 2 and exhaling for 2. Just counting mentally. And observing the movement of your breathing. And if your mind starts to wander, this is where the counting comes in handy. Just keep counting, even when you feel that you have it just right, to a 2-count inhale and a 2-count exhale. Make sure you're still lifting up through the crown of the head, that your navel is pressing towards your spine, your heart is opening forward, shoulders are relaxed. Trying to maintain that upright posture. And now, if it feels accessible to you, See if you can increase the length of your inhale and exhale. So now you're inhaling for 3 and exhaling for 3. Notice if you're becoming a little too forceful with your breathing. And if so, then stick with the 2 count inhale and 2 count exhale. We'll stay here for several more breaths with that 3 count inhale and 3 count exhale. Again, trying to observe every detail that you can about the breath, the way it feels as it enters the nostrils, the movement as it moves down into the body, feeling movement in the rib cage, maybe even into the belly. And now, if it feels doable to your body, let's try to do a 4 count inhale and a 4 count exhale. Trying to bring a little bit more movement into the abdomen with that deeper breath. And a little more abdominal engagement with that deeper exhale. When we think about breathing deeply, we tend to overlook the exhale. And the exhale is so important because that's how our lungs rid the body of waste products, specifically CO2, but other waste products as well. The more CO2 that we can clear from the lungs, the more room we have for oxygen to come down. So 4 count inhale and 4 count exhale just for a few more breaths. And then throughout the practice today, we'll try to maintain a more or less balanced breath. Perhaps not that deep 4 count, but trying to consciously balance the inhale and the exhale. Take one more cycle of breath, counting your 4 counts in and 4 counts out. Then you can allow the eyes to open or keep them closed if you prefer. And we'll begin a little bit of movement with the breath for seated cat and cow position. So as you breathe here, the next time you exhale, start to press the navel in towards the spine. Start to slide those hands forward towards the knees and let that back round out. Almost like you're trying to scoop the abdominals, really powerfully engage. Drop the chin down. And then on your inhale, slide those hands in towards the hips. Press the navel forward. Press that heart forward. Squeeze the shoulder blades together behind you. Let that chin lift, but never let the head just fall back unsupported. Exhale, pressing navel to spine, sliding those hands forward, closing down. Inhaling as you open up and expand. Take a few more breaths like this, just moving at your own pace, or if it feels good, you can move along with me. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Let's take 2 more cycles. Remember, you may move a little faster, just depending on your breathing, or a little slower. Just trying to create as much shape change in the body as possible from one movement to the other. And slowly come back up to center. We're going to incorporate a little bit of leg movement next, still working with that spinal movement as well. So you're going to grab underneath the knee and, well, underneath the thigh, really, behind the knee. Might be helpful to interlace the fingers if possible. underneath you just for a little more support. And if it feels okay to the back, we're going to continue with those cat and cow type movements, incorporating the leg now. So on your inhale, you're going to press the belly forward, draw the knee to the chest, lift the chin. And on your exhale, press out through the heel. Let the weight of that leg kind of draw you into a nice stretch along the back here. But if you do feel any extreme pulling sensation on the back, then maybe you draw the knee in, but on your exhale, you let that heel come to the ground. So pick your variation, inhaling and exhaling, either keeping hold of the leg or letting it go. Starting to work into the muscles of the leg now. 2 more of these. Last one, inhaling up. Exhaling down. And then inhaling to neutral, drawing that knee into the chest. Let go with your right hand. Bring it to your thigh or to the chair. And we're just going to open that left knee out to the side as far as we can. And then bring it back in. Don't put all the weight in your arm here. That leg is doing a little bit of work. But we're working into that hip joint and all of those muscles that connect around the hips to just get them started and say, hey, work's coming. Get ready for it. Also helping with that joint range of motion here. Just a couple more, opening and closing. Now we're going to make this a little more active work for our bodies. So, bringing those left toes down to the ground. Go ahead and start this movement with hands on your chair. Sit up nice and tall. Almost imagine like there's a zipper in the front of your abdomen and you're just zipping it up. We're going to tap the toes here in the front. Then you're going to pick that knee up and tap out to the side as far out as you can. So we're tapping front, tapping out. All right, you may think, hey, Aline, that's not bad. I got that. If you want to make it a little bit harder, well, first of all, we'll be doing this for a little while, so don't get too excited. Second, if you want to make it a little bit harder, go ahead and bring those hands out in front of you. Working the shoulders and the arms a little bit here and forcing the core to engage a little bit more. Remember, we want to stay upright. Now, if you still want a little bit more, go ahead and lean back just a little bit. It's going to engage those abdominals more. Now, your hips should probably be burning a little bit. So you're going to feel a lot of sensation here in the hip crease, probably all around here, up into the low back a little bit. Keep breathing, stay with it. You might want to hit that pursed lip breathing here, inhaling through the nostrils, exhaling through pursed lips. If you're starting to get really tired, you can stop or just back off a little bit. Take that lean out. Let's go one more tap out. And in. I lied. Here's our last tap out. We're going to leave the foot there. Woo. All right. So you're going to scoot over now to the left side of your chair. I'm holding on with my right hand for support here. Left hand can come to the hip. Notice how my left hip is almost off the chair entirely. So I want to free up that hip. And I'm trying to open my knee out, trying to make like a 90-degree angle here with my legs, okay? Let's straighten that left leg out any amount. That's going to increase your stretch. And with this left hand, I'm just going to bring it above the knee for some support. If I feel okay with it, I'm going to lift that right arm up. If I feel like I'm about to fall, I'm going to keep that right hand where it is. Just moving into a side stretch. So again, if it's accessible, that right arm's coming up, maybe to the ceiling, or perhaps reaching on an angle. If you can, elbow can come to the thigh and get a really nice long stretch all along that right side of the body. You should also be feeling a stretch into the hips, maybe inner thighs, maybe outer hip. It all just depends on how tight you are where you might feel it the most. So trying to take several more deep breaths here, never losing sight of that breath. Or if you are, that's when you're backing off. Maybe this arm comes down. Maybe you back out of the stretch just a little bit if it's too intense. On an inhale, come on up. Slowly start to draw that foot back into the middle. Walk those hips back to center. And reposition yourself in your balanced seated position here. And then we'll draw that right knee in towards the chest. Remember, interlace those fingers if you can underneath that knee. Thumbs can stay free or they can interlace as well. And we're going to try to draw that knee up and in on our inhale, opening the heart, lifting the chin. On the exhale, letting the weight of that leg draw a deeper stretch along the spine. Head drops, scooping out. So really want to scoop and actively engage those abdominals. Press those abdominals in. So inhaling up, exhaling down. Several more rounds here. You can move at my pace if that works with your breathing, or you can go a little faster or a little slower. So important to try to link your movements with your breath. One more of each. And next inhale comes to neutral. I'm going to release that left hand either to my thigh or maybe the chair for more support. I'm going to try to open that knee out just as wide as I can to the side and then back in. So I'm supporting my leg here, but I'm still staying upright. I'm not slouching, even though it's really tempting. Try to stay lifted and engaged. How are you guys feeling? Hopefully doing okay. Working some of those tight muscles. A lot of times our muscles get tight and weak, and that is not a good combination. So that's why you should be proud of yourselves for working on this today. Okay, pep talk's over. Let's go for the toe taps. So remember your options of difficulty. Hands to the chair. Hands honestly can even come behind you a little bit. That's probably going to be the most supportive posture. Hands here, hands out in front, tilted back. So lots of options here. I'm going to go just for hands out front this time. So I'm going to tap and tap. Notice my knee does come up. That's going to really engage these muscles that some people refer to as your hip flexors or your psoas muscle, PSOAS if you want to look it up later. Very vital muscles that get tight and weak from a lot of sitting. So that's why we're strengthening those today. Whew. We're also working the glutes, glute medius, glute minimus, and probably a whole lot of other things that you're feeling right now. Whew. Keep breathing. Pause if you need to. I'm going to work on my pursed-lip breathing here. I want to get a little bit of ab strengthening, so I'm going to tilt back for these last few. Going for 3 more. 2. Stay with it. Oh, last one. And open that leg out to the side. Whew. Take a second. Might feel good to rock forward a little bit. Probably really burning up into the hip and low back a little bit. So you're going to shift this time to your right side. Make sure that left knee stays in alignment with the hip, heel under the knee. I'm holding onto my chair here for support while I position myself. So I'm trying to get this right knee this time all the way out in line, making that 90-degree angle with my legs if possible. And then I'm going to work towards straightening that leg. Play around with this though. For some people, the straighter their leg is, the more stretch they feel into the inner thigh and outer hip. For some people, you're going to feel it more bent. So just play a little bit. Decide if you want to maybe bring that elbow to the thigh. Maybe this hand stays down, out to the side, up to the ceiling, or all the way out and overhead. And good news is, if you decided, let's say you went for all the way out and overhead, and now you're regretting it, you can always change it up. Try to relax that head a little bit into the stretch. Let that right ear move down towards the right shoulder. Find those balanced breaths here. Again, it doesn't have to be 4 counts in and 4 counts out, but balance it out as much as you can. And on your next inhale, when you're ready, slowly come up. Walk that foot in. Come back to the center of your chair. We'll get a little bit more leg strengthening in, and then we'll move into our cool down. So, again, finding your nice seated, aligned posture. Hands released by the sides. Open that heart. Draw the shoulder blades together behind you. Maybe even roll those shoulders up, back, and down. On an inhale, when you're ready, float those arms up overhead. And you guys, if arms out to the sides does not feel great on your shoulders, I encourage you, whenever I bring arms out to the sides, to bring arms forward and up. So everyone, go ahead and try that. If you brought your arms out to the sides, try forward and up. See if you like that better. And then you can move in that way from now on. Deep inhale here. Lift the chin, the heart. On your exhale, decide if you're going to move forward with the arms overhead, or swan dive with the arms out to the sides, or for the most support, hands on the thighs. Hope you weren't holding your breath that whole time. Let's try that. Inhale. And on the exhale, start to hinge forward into your seated forward fold. And for this forward fold, if you can let the head drop below the heart, do so. Roll those shoulders out. Rock that head side to side. Just let your body absolutely relax. Try not to hold on to any muscle engagement. And notice where you feel stretching. See if you can expand the breath into the back of the ribs. Can you take such a deep inhale that your whole body lifts a little bit off of the thighs? And you know what? If you can't, don't worry about that. It will come with time. When you're ready, start to slowly lift the head first. Draw those hands to the tops of the thighs. And then using the hands a little bit here, try to straighten the back, engage the back, and lift up. If you got a little dizzy from that, it's not unusual. Changing in body positioning can change blood pressure. So just take a moment to recenter. We'll do a little back bend here. So go ahead and send those hands behind you. You can grab on the sides of the chair. Remember, if you joined on Friday, for a little more sensation, you can rotate those hands out to the sides. So it's up to you. But here on your inhale, you'll press the belly forward, chest forward, lift that chin. So you're pulling. Like if you could pull hard enough, don't rock your chair forward like I just did, but you want to get that sensation of pulling against the chair. One more breath here. On your exhale, release. Now, stay where you are. I'm going to move my chair forward, though, so you can see me a little bit better. So from here, you're going to try marching. Try no hands, if you can. Marching yourself over to the side. My right hip is going to come off the chair. I'm holding on to the back of the chair with my left hand. Right hand comes to my hip. Now, with this front leg, I'm trying to get that heel under the knee. So if your chair's a little higher, that may mean you should scoot a little further forward so you can really feel firmly rooted in that front foot. Once you've got that, you're going to try to bring this right leg so the knee comes underneath the hip. Notice how my back toes are curled under, and I'm trying not to let that ankle do any weird kind of sickling, trying to stay in alignment. So if you can check out your back foot, do so. And once you've gotten that alignment, you're probably feeling quite a bit of sensation here in the front of the thigh, maybe a stretch in the quads, maybe here in the front of the hip. We're going to try to straighten that back leg and then let it relax. So on your inhale, you're going to straighten. And on your exhale, you're going to relax. Now, if this is feeling a little easy for you, then what I would like for you to do is, or if you just want more of a challenge, maybe it doesn't feel easy, but you want to try to go a little harder, then you're going to try to lift your hips up off the chair. So as you straighten that leg back, you're going to try to lift an inch or two off your chair, and then exhale, release. Inhale, lift. Exhale, release. If you think I'm insane for suggesting that, then you're just straightening and bending. Or maybe you're just holding that stretch here and you're just breathing. Or maybe you're laughing at me. Either way, trying to take 2 more of these, either lifting all the way, straightening, or none of the above. One more time. And relax. Go ahead and just enjoy that stretch. Now, if it's accessible to you, and maybe you're saying, Aline, I don't really feel a stretch, you're going to try to grab perhaps your pant leg to lift that heel close into your body. Or, if you can, you're going to try to grab the ankle just to increase that stretch across the top of the thigh. Trying to open the chest wherever you are, whether the foot's down, you're holding your pant leg, or you're holding your ankle. You're trying to open that chest forward, relax the shoulders. One more deep inhale. And exhale, try to let it go as gracefully as you can. And slide that foot forward. Go ahead and shift those hips. So both hips are now on your chair. And we're just going to do a little side reach and twist here. So I'm going to, keeping my left hand on the chair, I'm inhaling that right arm up. Exhaling to reach into my side twist. I might even be letting, or side reach, sorry. I'm letting my shoulder lean against the chair even. Give yourself a little break. Maybe if it feels good, you're going to open a little bit. So I'm opening that chest and heart up to the ceiling. I'm opening that arm back behind me. And then releasing, opening, and releasing. One more time if you're with me on this. And inhale to come up. On your exhale, moving into a gentle twist. So you're just trying to twist towards the chair. My left hand is coming on the outside, my right hand on the other side. Trying to keep those shoulders down and relaxed, and maybe even turning my head back behind me if that's accessible and okay on my spine and my neck. Beautiful, y'all. One more deep inhale. On your exhale, release. And we get to do all of that on the other side. Yay! So we're going to march on over. Let's stop here in the middle briefly. Take that deep inhale. And on your exhale, one more forward fold. We won't hold this one quite as long, but just relax those shoulders. Relax the head. And slowly start to come up. Deep inhale to lift the head. Slide those hands to the thighs. Engage the back. Press up. Pause, especially if you feel dizzy here. And then move into your back bend. So hands are coming back to the chair. Again, I might open my palms and slide them under for more of a stretch in the arms and chest. And I'm just trying to press that belly, chest, forward, lift the chin. One more breath here. And on my exhale, I'm releasing that and marching on over to my right. This time, remember, we want to root that right foot down. So I'm sliding maybe forward or back until I feel like I'm very rooted in that foot and the heel is under the knee. My left hip is kind of free off the chair and I'm holding onto the back of the chair with my right hand. So left hand to the hip. Start to slide or push or whatever you need to do to shimmy that foot back to try to get the knee underneath the hip. Pausing here just to get that zip up movement. So I'm trying to draw navel to spine. I'm trying to open the chest. And I'm trying to relax my shoulders. There's a lot going on here. And I'm trying to breathe. Always. So from here, we're trying to now press into that back foot a little bit. Powerfully engage that quad and straighten out a little. And then release. If you feel a little tension on your knee, you may actually want to try to push that leg further back so that when you straighten, you're able to straighten that leg a little bit more. And bend. Straighten on your inhale. And bend. So we're working here quads and glutes throughout this movement. Now, if you're feeling pretty good about it, you may want to try to lift those hips off that seat. Or you might not at all. If you did so on the other side, try to keep it as even as you can. So see if you can do it again on this side. And you'll be glad to know that we'll be doing a little cool down after this. So give it your last bit of strength and effort here if you can. 2 more lifts, or just straightens, or just holding that stretch may be enough. Last one. Inhale up. Exhale, relax. Now we're holding that quad stretch. Again, maybe just hanging out here. Maybe grabbing the pant leg, or if you're flexible enough and you can, do so. Maybe you're holding that ankle. Notice I repositioned this hand behind me. I don't know if you can see it, but I'm kind of holding the back of my chair now across the top of it. And even here, so maybe I grabbed my leg. This shouldn't be what your body looks like right now. That's cheating. So it's not so important that you grab your leg, but very important that you feel a stretch here along the front of the thigh and maybe even into the hip and across the top of the knee. Open that chest if you can. Opening up, relaxing the shoulders, maybe forcefully relaxing them. Try to take one more deep inhale. And on your exhale, foot comes down as gradually as you can. And go ahead and start to slide that foot forward. And we're going to march. Oh, we're not. I almost forgot. We're going to do our releasing stretch here. So scoop both hips so that they're onto the chair. Feet flat on the ground. Inhale that left arm up. And exhale, move into your side reach. I'm just leaning my shoulder against the chair, just relaxing here. But if this is too much for that top arm to be reaching, remember, you can go to the ceiling, go to the side, or let that arm relax down. Relaxing here into your stretch for a couple breaths. If you did so on the other side and you'd like to try opening the chest a bit more, for these last few breaths, you're going to open out And release. Open. And release. And one more. Slowly come up on an inhale. And on your exhale, moving into that twist towards the back of the chair. My right hand trying to come to the outer edge, and my left hand to the other outer edge. Turning my chin, if that feels okay, to my neck. Shoulders stay relaxed. You guys have done such a good job so far today. Let's continue with this cool down. One more deep inhale. And exhale to release that twist. Go ahead and walk those feet back over to the middle. And you're going to come to standing. I'm going to turn my chair sideways for this next little segment. We're just going to do one really deliciously juicy stretch standing behind the chair. And so there are a couple options for you to get up out of that chair. If you know balance is a big issue for you, then get up out of your chair however you normally do. But if you would like to test balance, and you know that that's not going to be super scary for you or cause any issues, you don't have a history of falling, then you're going to try to do what's called chair pose in yoga to come up. Let me demonstrate first. Don't try to follow along with me yet. So I'm going to demo first so you know what you're getting into. And then you can do it along with me. I'll repeat it one more time, okay? So for the demo, you're scooting to the very edge of the seat. Instead of the heels being under the knees, this time we're actually going to walk those heels in under us just a little bit. So if I look down, I should just see the tips of my toes, or maybe not even at all. They might be under my knees. Make sure your feet are about hip width apart. You're going to try to hinge forward, keeping that straight, tall back. Arms come kind of forward or up. And I'm essentially trying to shift the weight over into my feet. Shift, shift, shift. Really powerfully engage to lift up and slowly come to standing. Ha. All right. So if you think you want to give that a try, I'll do it one more time and you can follow along with me. If you know that you don't want to give that a try, don't worry about it. Just come to standing and come around to the back of your chair. All right. So remember, you're perched on the edge. Feet are coming in under you a little bit. Go ahead and bring those arms out. Shift forward, but without rounding. So we want to stay nice and long. Shift that weight, really engage those legs. Lift, lift. And come all the way up. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Relax the arms. Go ahead and shake those legs out. Come around to the back of your chair. So I wanted to show you guys this stretch today because it's a wonderful stretch for the whole, what we call the back chain of the body. So it's stretching into my lats, these large muscles on my back. It's stretching my glutes, it's stretching my hamstrings, it's stretching my calves. So pretty much all of the muscles along the back of my body are getting benefit from this. So I'm bringing my hands to the chair about shoulder width apart. And I'm slowly going to start inching my heels back. This may be where I stop. I may feel a lot of sensation here, especially on the back side of my body. And I may want to stop here, and that's enough. But if you can, this is basically a standing downward facing dog if you've done yoga before. So you're just sliding those feet back. Notice how I'm keeping my back flat. I am not letting it round. Once I round, I'm no longer stretching my glutes. I am no longer stretching my hamstrings. I'm mostly just stretching the back, and that's about it. So I want to try to almost poke that tailbone up towards the ceiling. And that tilt of the pelvis is going to be key here. So I'm trying to rock my pubic bone and my belly down and open my tailbone up and back. I'm trying to let my head and shoulders drop, my chest sink. And you may be able to come to the full expression of this posture which would look something like this. Wherever you are, just try to take a couple deep breaths. Even though you're feeling a lot of sensation here, can you balance those inhales and exhales? Can you release tension in the shoulders, the jaw, the eyebrows? Prying open those tight spaces. Whenever you're ready to come up, when you've had enough, do so very slowly. Start to lift the head, even if you haven't come down this far. Just move slow. Walk those feet up and in. Nice. And just go ahead and, if you can hold on to the chair if you need to, just doing a couple little hip circles here, almost like you're slow motion hula hooping. Should feel really good to just the glutes and the outer hips. Go ahead and reverse directions. If you want to test your balance a little bit, you can bring hands to the hips, but know that chair is there if you need it. All right, one more circle. And let's have a seat. The final portion here of our class. So come on down, get comfortable. So allow yourself to scoot all the way back in the chair. I'm going to turn sideways so you can see me a little better in terms of my posture. So I'm just letting myself relax back, but trying to stay open and lifted in the front of the body. Hands are going to relax into my lap. And I'm going to let those eyes close. And I'm just going to tune in now. Maybe even straighten those legs out a little bit. How is my body feeling? Can I feel that heart beating in the chest? Can I find that balanced breath just for these last few breaths of the class? Maybe returning to that 4-count inhale and 4-count exhale. Relaxing my jaw, letting my mouth part slightly, tongue relax from the roof of my mouth. Feeling the tension just wash out of my body with each exhale that I take. And as you breathe here, just beginning to feel a sense of lightness, openness, and spaciousness in the body. And feeling a sense of love and gratitude for your practice today, maybe for pushing some of your limits in a positive, healthy, and hopefully fun way. And when you're ready, you can slowly start to open those eyes. And take your time here. You can relax in the chair however long you would like to. Thank you for joining me today. I hope your bodies feel pretty good after that. You got a good challenge, good stretching. And we'll just keep working on it. So join me again on Wednesday at 10 a.m. for the next session. And if you have any questions, comments, suggestions, if you want to make requests for the next class, so maybe there are certain body parts that you really want to work on, either strengthening or stretching or both, don't hesitate to reach out to me because I would love to incorporate your feedback into these classes. Hope you have an awesome day. See you next time.